we're giving our teachers too many directions. We're micromanaging them too carefully, and that's taking away the magic of what teaching is about. And therefore, obviously, that filters down to the students in the end, which is a real problem.
Welcome to the podcast Tea with a Teacher, and I'm your host, Syed Hamid Hassan. In this podcast, we speak to inspiring teachers and listen to their journey as a teacher. In today's episode, we have a man who's on a mission to change the world by educating children. He's a Montessori trained teacher, a philanthropist, a teacher trainer, and a gentleman. Words are not enough for his introduction. I welcome Mr. Gavin McCormack to our podcast, who is the founder of Upschool.co.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Hamid. How are you, sir?
Damn good. Well, to start this podcast, I would like to know you are a genius with the work that you are doing. You could have been into any profession and you would have mastered in it. But why did you choose teaching as a profession? It's been more than 20 years that you are in this profession. What inspired you to become a teacher?
Good question. There are two answers to that. The first answer is my mum told me to do it, which is what all children say. It's not my fault. My mum told me to do it, which is the first one. She did. My mum did tell me to do that. I was deciding on what to do with my life. I could have become an economist, working with the economy, or I could have been a teacher, and she told me to be a teacher because she noticed that I was very good with children. Which is something many people have said. I don't know what it is, but something happens when I'm with children. They just come to me, and it seems to be very natural and organic. But number two, teaching is an amazing way to travel the world. There are lots of schools around the planet, and there are lots of children that need teaching. And so I chose teaching because as a man working in primary school, you're quite rare. It's a niche market, and therefore you are very, you're in need. You're sought after. So I chose it because it would allow me to travel around the world, and I've used it in exactly that way. I mean, I've worked in France, in Spain, in Korea, in Australia, in India, in Nepal, all over the place, and that's all because of teaching. So that's the reason that I chose it, and I'm very fortunate that I found my passion very, very early indeed. Many people have to wait their entire life. I was very lucky mine came very quickly.
You have a really great mother, I would say, because in India, the parents usually ask their children to either be a doctor or an engineer. Nobody thinks of a teacher as a profession.
Well, I think that's changing actually, isn't it now? I think that for years and years and years, we thought of teachers as just babysitters. Oh, you go to school and you just play in the sandpit and do your ABCs and 2 + 2, and that's what teachers do. But if you think about it, teaching is a profession. It's like being an accountant, being a lawyer, being an architect, being a doctor. They're all professions. You have to be a professional. So I say this, and I've said it many times, you do not go to the doctor and question his prescription because he or she is a professional. So you do not go to school and question the teaching style of your teacher because he or she is also a professional. So I think there's a lot of work to do to raise the public profile of teachers, but I like to think that I'm working towards that also.
Even if you inspire the children that you are teaching to become a teacher, that's even enough. The work is done over there.
Correct.
To talk about your global reach, that you have worked in many countries. I was following you when you were building a school in Nepal. So what inspired you to build a school in Nepal in a village where there were no resources, there was no motivation for people? And I also learned yesterday that you are planning to build another school in Nepal in a memory of Mandaru Devkota in her village. First thing is, what inspired you to build such schools, and how do you make those schools sustainable, self-sustainable?
Okay, so I mean, how do we do anything? We become a master at something by giving it a try. So we say to the children, if you want to do this, give it a try. We don't care if you make a mistake, that's fine. And look, I've built many schools in Nepal now. I've built many schools over the years, and at the beginning, I wasn't very good at it. really bad. In fact, I trusted everybody, and I would just put resources, and they would all go missing, and it wasn't sustainable. But over the years of building them, I've become better. So, and what inspired me to do it was that I was working in Nepal. I was actually opening my first teacher training center. And what I was doing there was just building up a sustainable teacher training center in Bag Bazaar, which is Tiger Market in Kathmandu. Very cool and vibrant part of town, and very busy. And I visited a local school. Well, I say school with very loose terms around it because it was more like a prison cell. It was really terrible. And I looked at that school and I thought, goodness me, this is shocking. This is so bad. It was only a small school with one room for about 30 children, but I promised the teacher teaching that class, her name was Padma Mom. I promised her I would return and I would renovate her school. I didn't really know what I was promising. Actually, I've never renovated anything. In fact, I can't even put up a shelf in my house. I'm terrible at DIY, just so bad, really bad. So I was kind of promising something which I really had no idea how to succeed at. But I came back to Australia and I raised some money and I got some resources and I went back there and I changed that little room into a school. And I proved to myself that I could do it. But I felt so good. Like I've never felt that good in my life when I stood with Padma in her room and she was crying. And she said, I've written to the government for 15 years in a row asking for my little school to be renovated, and I've never had a reply. And when you promised me you were coming, I didn't think you'd return, and now you're here. And she started crying. And, I felt more happiness than I can ever tell you. And you get addicted to that feeling because it feels good to be good. And I'd never been that good. I'd never helped someone like that before. So I needed more of that. I needed to feel that feeling again. So I just went bigger and better. And each time the schools got bigger and bigger and bigger until a couple of years ago, we built a school for 500 children, a huge school. It was amazing. I took a team of 10 people there with me. And it was really fantastic. And, it just felt so good. It feels so good to achieve that. And then obviously the pandemic came around and my dear friend, she died. She was like a mum to me. She took care of me in Nepal. And, I got a call from some people in the village saying that she had COVID and she was dying and she needed oxygen and could I help? Now, I don't know how to get oxygen. I'm just a teacher, but I tried very hard to get some oxygen from northern India over the border, but it didn't work. And I got a very sad phone call saying that and the words were, she's expired. And, I was sitting in a restaurant with a friend of mine. I was just started crying terribly. I was crying so much, uncontrollable, because she could have been saved. And I felt so sad about that. So in her memory, we planned to build a school in her village to let her legacy live forever because she was a wonderful mom, a wonderful community leader. All the children respected her. And what better way to celebrate her life than to have a building for children to go to forever where they can learn. So yeah, we do plan to do that. Should be fun as usual. It will be challenging, but when the door is open, the floods of happiness will come again and we'll be addicted. So
what I feel when that, as you said that you gave a word to Padma that you will come back and you decided that I will build the school. Actually, you already built the school when you decided that you will build that school, because when you take a decision, it's very important to take a decision of the end goal. I also do it many a times. I don't know how I am going to reach that goal, but I tell myself this is the goal and I'm going to do it, and then things keep working in your favor and you end up doing that. And you have to keep on trying. There are a lot of problems that also comes in. You must also have faced a lot of problems when you are building that school, but there are people who want to help you, who see your struggle, your initiatives that you are taking, and it works out. You are able to help other people.
There's a very famous saying, what you are, they will become. And so, if you want children to be great in the world, then you have to show them. You have to say, hey, look, I'm doing this. maybe you should do it. And they will do it. They will copy you. They watch you very carefully, children. Any parents listening out there, if you say to your children, I want you to read every night at 7 o'clock for half an hour, they won't listen to you. They want to watch TV, they want to play on their iPad, they want to play in the garden. But if you sit down and you read at 7 o'clock for half an hour yourself, they will soon copy you because they want to be like you. And so it's about modeling the behavior you wish to view in those around you. And I think there's a lot of people in this world right now, especially some of our leaders, who know how to take, but they don't know how to give. And so why not cultivate, a beautiful cohort of graduates in our schools today who know how good it feels to give back. And it does feel good. It's not about all giving. You're taking too. You get the feeling. That feeling is very addictive. Very addictive indeed.
How do you make these schools self-sustainable that you are building?
So while the school is being built, I get the teachers together and I train them. So I train them basically on how to run the school and how to manage their classrooms. But also, when you build a school and it's a new school, people start to come from villages far away because this new school has appeared. They don't mind walking 10 kilometers to this new school because it's all shiny and beautiful and the materials are inside. But in terms of sustainability, I actually, usually the government give me the land, so I don't need to worry about the price of the land. The building, I generate the money myself, either through my own savings or raising money through some kind of charity fundraiser. So the school is really free, in actual fact. And if the materials are taken care of and the teachers know how to use them effectively, then the school will sustain itself. But I think it's really important that, that your listeners know that I don't build the school with my bare hands. I sit the community down and I say, okay, we're going to build a school. Does anybody know how to dig foundations? And everyone says, I know how to dig foundations. I say, wonderful. Okay, so you guys, you're going to do the foundations. Does anyone have any rocks in their garden to fill the I have rocks. Can we have those rocks? Yes, you can. Does anyone have bricks? I have some bricks. Can we have those bricks? Of course you can. And all of the resources and the skills are actually in the community. They just don't realize that if you put them all together in a beautiful omelette, this beautiful thing bakes beautifully and a school appears. And then what you find is you leave, you come back to visit the school and another one has appeared and they didn't need you this time. They just thought, hey, everything's already here. We don't need that guy coming again. We'll just build our own school this time. So it's about kind of project managing, I guess, is the thing, and inspiring them to think about when you work collectively and collaboratively, then magic can happen. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole premise behind it. But, if I could, I'd build one every single week. But, we have to go to work and do our jobs because it's very addictive. It's very addictive indeed. Everybody who's been with me says, I want to go again. When can I come again?
You have built a school not by yourself. You have taken people along with you. And now, not just you have an attachment and a takeaway from that school, that building that you have built, but all the people of the community whose children are going to the school as well have an attachment with the school. Yes, we built that school, we contributed, and our children are going to take benefit from it. That's a beautiful feeling. When you were telling me the story, I could feel that emotion of people who were giving away their resources to build the school. That's amazing.
I think it's about empowerment, really, and a shared responsibility. Those two things work really well together.
Yes. Well, let's talk about upschool.co, your new venture that you are building, and you have also courses on it on climate change, sustainable development goals, and also on writing a book for children. So how can schools and children take benefit from these courses, and what is the outcome for children? What do they build a personality of themselves?
So obviously, I'm a Montessori trained teacher. So Montessori, in its entirety, is all about empowering students to make a difference in the world. So rather than working for grades or points or scores or percentages or a ranking, which many schools do around the world, what Montessori promotes is that children only compete with themselves, and every piece of work they do must make the world a little bit better. That's why they bother doing the work in the first place. So myself and the entire team at Upschool, and there are many others there, including my dear friend Richard Mills and also Jake Davies and Anusha and Ashesh. And we have offices in Nepal, offices in India, offices in Australia and Bangladesh. Our entire team have the same focus, and that's education with purpose for a better tomorrow. That's what it's all about. So basically, we put together a series of courses. These courses are 10 weeks long. Schools can join for free. Everything is free on the platform, completely free. There's never a cost, which sometimes people think free, it must be rubbish if it's free, you're giving it away. Well, no, it's certainly not rubbish. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours, as have the entire team, putting together everything for the students to be able to learn, get the academic prowess that they need, but the outcome of their learning is that they produce something that changes the world. And there's a few options so far on the platform, and we're developing lots of courses as we speak. I'm actually doing one right now. But a really good example of that is our Write a Book to Change the World course. So in many schools around the world, children are asked to write a story. You wrote a story, Hamid, and so did I. Well, a teacher said 1,000 times, we're going to write a story, we're going to write a story, we're going to write a story. And you write a story, and what happens? The teacher collects your story, she ticks it or he ticks it and marks the spellings and says, wow, wonderful story, amazing that the mushroom made it all the way to Mars, puts a tick, closes the book, you pop it in the drawer, and you feel okay. But we've given this an added twist. We've given it one more step. So I'm a writer. I write children's books myself. So what we've decided to do on this particular course is children come onto our platform and they choose a why. Why are you writing a book? Is it going to be a book about a historical character? Is it a real life story of something that happened to you? Is it a story about a fictional world, a mysterious kingdom, in Jupiter? What is it you're writing about? And then number two, they start to work on their characters, their setting, they write a manuscript. They then illustrate their entire book, and we offer free access to Canva education, which is an amazing thing. Every single child who comes on the platform gets a free Canva account, which is usually $20 a month, which is outrageous. They illustrate their own book, and at the very end, they have a full book, 25 pages long, like something you would buy in a bookshop, and they upload it onto our Upschool library. But before they click upload, it asks them, when somebody buys your book, where would you like some of the profits to go? And they get to choose from a series of charity organizations that do great work in the world. They save girls from trafficking, or they restore eyesight of children in Indonesia, or they plant trees in areas where there's deforestation. And children choose that. And then they upload their book and people can read it all over the world for free. But if somebody buys a copy, and we work out the manufacturing, don't worry about that. If somebody buys a copy, the child who wrote the book gets a little message saying, hey, Tommy, by the way, 6 people have bought your book this week and you've restored 3 children's eyesight in Indonesia, or you planted 600 trees, or 4 girls in Uganda are now going to school rather than being trafficked and sold. So it's about children using education for the normal reasons, but the added bonus is they get to do something great for the world. And so this morning, our new course was live. It's called It Starts With You. And we recorded all of the lessons live from the Arctic Circle in front of polar bears and glaciers and walruses. Pretty outrageous stuff. But the children get to embark on a climate change-making community mission. As a school, they try to work on all of these initiatives that help to save the world and change the climate and reverse global warming, which is something very cool as well. So look, it's free. I think it's really important. It's free, but it's very high quality. And for any of your listeners tuning in from India who have got to achieve NEP 2020 or the SDGs, every single course focuses on both of those things, and it comes with a full curriculum, which can be converted into any language you wish, into Hindi, into Bengali, into Nepali, doesn't matter which one. It's all there, and I've done all the work for you, which is just, I'm very happy with what we're providing for the world. And I've got to say thanks to the team at Upschool. They're just so dedicated to this work, and I appreciate you giving me the shout out to and allowing me to speak on your platform.
I have also seen your content on upschool.co, and that's really good quality action-based content actually. So that is really going to help children achieve the goals of the courses as well as the teachers to implement it in the classroom. So that's really amazing. And if you are enabling students, children to write a book, if I talk about me or you or anybody, when we were children, we had our own world of imagination, but we never wrote
Of
it down
course.
on a paper. You're giving the children their world of imagination to put it in a book and show it to the world. What's biggest achievement for a child would there be bigger than this? So that's amazing. Means if I would have got an opportunity to write my thoughts, if somebody would have guided me to write my thoughts, that would have been a good appreciation for myself, that I am able to write something at that stage when I'm 10, 12 years old. So write a book course is amazing for children, and the teachers who are going to listen to our podcast, I would even request you to check upschool.co, so you will understand the quality of content which is there, which is definitely free. You don't have to pay anything to upschool.co, and you can use all the resources for free. And your school also do not have to pay for that. So go check it out.
Thank you. Yes, that's really nice. And I would suggest, Hamid, that you actually write a book too now. I mean, it's never too late. I wrote my first book when I was 30, so I mean, I would say do it.
Definitely. I'll opt in for the course, and I will also write a book now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing yours. Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
So, what mindset of children are you trying to build so they can be successful in their life?
There are two sides to the educational world when you look at schools and how they run. There's the academic side, and we all know about that. You know, general arithmetic, reading, writing, spelling, all of those things are very, very important, very important. But they're not everything. When you look at some of the biggest organizations in the world, SpaceX, Google, Wikipedia, Amazon, all of these organizations, Tesla, when you get a job interview there, they're not even looking at your resume. You know, every resume looks the same. Everyone's a genius. Yes, great. But they've got to hire one person. So who do they hire? They hire the person who has the biggest skill set. And I'm not talking about technical skills. I'm talking about soft skills or essential skills, or what some people call real world skills. So it's things like empathy and love and understanding and compassion and time management and resilience and determination and sense of humor. All of these things we disregard in education. We don't even worry about them. Children, we just think, oh, well, they'll develop those when they go into the real world. But actually, the more that you can make your classroom look like the real world outside, the more that you will see those skills be cultivated in your classroom. And I guess what Upschool and myself, what our philosophy is about allowing children to have freedom, autonomy, and choice to determine what they want to do with the content that we are putting forward to them. So a good example of that is if you are teaching volcanoes to a group of children, the failure would be to show them a volcano on YouTube, to show them a volcano erupting, and tell them about Mount Vesuvius, show them a diagram, and then tell everybody they're going to write a report and give them a worksheet to fill in. That would be the failure. The opposite of that is to inspire them about, use a YouTube video, show them a diagram, tell them about Vesuvius, but then say to the students, what would you like to know that I haven't told you yet? And the children say, how hot is lava? That's a great question. What's a supervolcano? Great question. In 532 AD, did a volcano really block out the sun for 2 years? Great question. Okay, and then you say to the children, look, I love those questions. I don't know the answers to them, but they're in this room somewhere. They're in the computer, they're on the iPad, they're in the library, they're on YouTube, they're in your peers, they're inside me. You've got 1 hour, off you go. You can work with whoever you want. You can work however you wish, and you can represent your research in any way that suits you. But in 1 hour, we're meeting on the carpet, and you're going to answer one or all of those questions. And you're going to tell the rest of the group exactly what you found out. Off you go. And the kids, boom, they're all gone in a click of a finger, and they're all working. They're all working actively, and there's talking and movement, and there's actions, and there's debate and compromise and negotiation, and kids are falling out over here and working as a team over there. But an hour later, they all come to the carpet, and they become the teacher. They say, well, me and Thomas were working on this project, and we've designed this model of a volcano. We're going to show it to you, and everyone's learning from each other. And I guess what we're trying to enhance in schools is that Teaching is not about standing at the front and just lecturing all the time. Teaching is about inspiring and then saying yes and letting them go, and then stepping back and observing those skills happening. And then you take a note and say, ooh, look at Hamid over there. Look how much leadership he's showing. He's got the whole group around him. He's organizing them really well. And those two children were having a fallout, but he negotiated well with them and he got them back on track well. Hamid, amazing leadership. But if you are standing at the front for the whole time, you never get to see that. You never get to see that as a teacher because everyone is quiet with their fingers on their lips, listening to you talk, copying from the board. There's no autonomy, no agency, and no independence. But when we give them that, then we see the magic really happen. And this is something that we put, it's like the bread and butter of Upschool. In every single lesson, in every single word we ever say, we allow the students to have freedom, autonomy, and choice because that encourages those skills to just thrive. You cannot teach a child how to be confident. You can't say, hello, everybody, this week we're going to learn how to be confident. Now you're all confident. Well done. But you can say, we're going to learn how to be confident. I'm going to allow you to try something new. And if you fail, it's okay. We're going to try again. And, you know, through failure and determination and perseverance comes confidence. So, I mean, that's how our bread and butter, the river that runs underneath Upschool, is all about that. And I think it's the change that the world needs to see in education. I think it's sure because these skills are something that you can't wait until you're an adult. You need to allow them to happen in your classroom today for a better tomorrow.
This is a really good way to enable them, empower them, put the ball in their court to explore their capabilities, and then observe. The teacher can observe it and, you know, then tell them how they can improve in those skills. So that's
exactly
actually helping them look in themselves for the abilities that they have instead of telling them that what abilities that you have to build. So that's an amazing way to, you know, to develop a mindset and skills for children at an early stage, to let them know what they are capable of. That's very important.
Of course. I mean, think about yourself, Hamid. There was your first ever podcast, right? And you were like, oh, I'm not sure. Did I message the attendee correctly? Did I send them a right amount of questions? Was I engaging enough? Was my microphone in the right position? And then you do it. And then you watch it and you go, actually, it's pretty good. I'm just going to move that and change this. I'm going to talk less or talk more or give them less questions. And you slowly become a master at this, right? And if you don't try it, then you never get a chance to become a master at it. So if we're saying to our children, I want you all to do this exercise because I know you can all succeed and you'll all get 100% and I will look good, then where's the experimentation in that? It's a complete sham if that's what we're going to do, because we're actually failing our students and we're not allowing them to reach their full potential in any way.
You have a great network of educationists around the world, and you must be aware about the worldly problems with the teaching professions and the growing demand of teachers. Do you think that
Of
due to the
course.
rise in the education market with the edtech and online classes, online courses coming in place, there is a shortage of quality and skilled teachers globally?
I think there's been, there's several things happening at the same time. Number one, there has been a mass resignation of teachers. Teaching as a profession has been downgraded as to something where we are treated as just like puppets. We can be shuffled around and told what to do. But also the magic of teaching has been taken away for lots of people. As a teacher, when you're at university, you go to your lecturer and your lecturer says, you know what? You are a teacher. You get out there into that classroom, you get those kids and you change the world. You're going to grow the leaders of tomorrow. Off you go, Barbara. And Barbara says, yes, I'm getting into that classroom. I'm getting my kindergarten class and I'm going to change the world. And then Barbara gets to school and the principal says, hello, Barbara. Here's the curriculum. Say those words to those kids, get them to write them in their books, give them 100%, and then show me, and then we're all good. And the magic of teaching is gone automatically, because what teachers want to do is look at the curriculum and think, ooh, what's the most creative, the best way that I can deliver that content? That's what they want to do. And if we don't give the teacher the freedom to be able to do that, then teachers will leave. And that's what's happening at the moment. We're we're giving our teachers too many directions. We're micromanaging them too carefully. And that's taking away the magic of what teaching is about. And therefore, obviously, that filters down to the students in the end, which is a real problem. I don't think there's a shortage of teachers out there who are highly skilled. I just think they're being overmanaged, or they've already left the profession to go and work somewhere else because the magic has gone. But I think there's a lot of quality teacher training courses out there now in the world. You can go and source it from anywhere. And there's a lot of, with the online platforms now, there's so many places you can source knowledge. I mean, even just watching YouTube videos of people teaching using Montessori materials, that literally got me through my training. Without it, I would have failed. I think there's so many places to look now. But I think our ultimate problem is we've downgraded what teaching is in our minds, and we've given it a really low status, and we're trying to micromanage them. We don't trust them anymore. We need to get that trust back.
Everybody has their own teaching style and they want to do things in their own way, but when they're given the task and they are also given the outcome, that this is the outcome that you have to get, so they have to follow that, or in the time duration which is there to complete that topic that they have to teach. So it puts a lot of pressure on them to complete the things in time, adding on more work, more additional work apart from just taking lectures. There's other work as well in the school, so that makes it little difficult for them to cope up with the work and deliver the best teaching to their students.
Correct.
Well, it's the final question of our podcast today. I would like to know, how can we make the world a better place?
I've said this many times, but I think that the secret to the world being a better place is sitting on the carpet in every kindergarten classroom in the world. There's where your hope sits. Because our future, I'm 44, so maybe I've got 40 years left on this planet, so I'll be okay. My future's already determined, but our future generations, it's their future that's at risk. And so to make the world a better place, we have to give our students two things. Number one, power, and number two, choice. So we have to tell them that this is what's happening in the world. The rainforests are being cut down, the oceans are being polluted, the air is becoming toxic, there's war, there's famine. How do you want the future to look? And let me help you make the future that you wish. Because our 6-year-olds in 15 years will be working in organizations and climbing the organizational ladder to become leaders, CEOs, executives. And I guess what we want to do is build empathy, understanding, and ethics within those children at a very early age, so that when they're sitting behind the big desk as the CEO of a big energy corporation, making millions of dollars, and somebody says, "Hey, shall we cut down that forest over there so we can make loads of money, and we'll just chip all the wood and sell it off as cheap as possible," that the child remembers that it's not a great idea to do that because nature comes first. And they say, "No, don't be so ridiculous. Why would we cut down the forest for that?" Or, "Shall we drill into the water, Mr. CEO, and pollute all the waterways of the indigenous people?" No, we're definitely not doing that. To make the world a better place, we need to allow our students to feel the emotion of learning, how good it feels to do the right thing, not how good it feels to have lots of material possessions. So have a fast car and a big house and a gold jewelry and all these things. Those things will make you happy for a moment. But being a good person doing the right thing makes you be able to sleep well at night thinking, I'm doing the best I can to save this planet for every single organism. And I think to make the world a better place, we need to make sure that we look into our kindergarten classrooms when the kids are sitting on the carpet, and we look right at them and say, am I teaching these children not just to be academically smart, but to be ethically smart as well? And if we're doing both of those things, then I think the world will be better. And it won't be better for us because we will be gone, but it'll be better for future generations in time. And I think that's the whole reason why we have created Upschool.co, for that exact reason, because what we want is the future to be better. And we see that this is the best way to do it.
That's amazing. These are the leaders of tomorrow who have to take care of it. And if we can educate them, we can create an emotion in them, so they will not take the wrong decisions to harm the nature and make this world more sustainable. That's an amazing idea. It's really amazing to listen to your thoughts. And it was a pleasure to have you on this podcast and listen to your journey as a teacher and as a leader. You have grown and built upschool.co to empower teachers as well as students in this world. Because you have made it a global initiative, that makes it even easy for every school, every teacher to implement it in the classroom. And I wish you best of luck for your future plans to empower teachers and students. Thank you so much, Gavin, for coming to this show.
Amir, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I would say that if any of your teachers listening out there do want to join, it's completely free. They can join immediately. But also, if they want me to meet with their teachers or their staff, they can jump on the platform and they can book a private tour. And I will meet with their entire school and show them all the ins and outs of where everything is. And I thank you for having me on. It's been really nice to talk to you, Hamid. You're a wonderful man.
Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we will soon be back with another episode of Tea with a Teacher just for you.